Okay, we are on Daf Lamed Ches base. Right, the second Locha test. Ketzah Tolim Avshitim. How do you hang the Korban Pesach and skin it? On Clear Shabarzel Kvuim et Ksolim, there were metal hooks fixed into the walls with amudim and on pillars Shabayim Tolim Avshita, on which used to hang the Korban Pesach and skin it. Anybody who doesn't have a place to hang it, Maklos Dakin Chalokim Hayusham, there were narrow, thin strips of wood. You would put one on your shoulder, one on your friend's shoulder, the tolam mavshit, and dangle it down and skin it. Actually, we weren't supposed to be here tonight, right?
I wasn't.
I forgot. You wasn't even supposed to be here tonight. What happened in St. Louis? Oh, okay. Right, it's good. You came for a good block. Right, good couple of blocks. Right, Lezer, you dodged. Lam Chesam base. Right, Lezer, you dodged Chalas b'Shabbos. The 14th day, and this comes on Shabbos. Meniach yodo al kosiv chaver v'yad chaver al ksefo. You put your hand on your friend's shoulder. Your friend puts his hand on your shoulder. The totally you hang it down, mafshi, you skin it. Now the question was, and when we learned this in the morning in the Bavli, somebody asked this question too, and I gave the wrong answer. Why did they use the sticks on Shabbos? Why did they use the sticks on Shabbos? Why do they have to put their arms on? So I said it must be the sticks were muktzah. Sheker v'chozav. Rabbi Zir B'Shem Rabbi Lezer says, Kanim u'maklois koyim la'toris ha'kelim nishnu. This Mishnah was stated when they still held that sticks were muktzah. Right? There was a time when we had this Gemara way back in Masechta Shabbos, both in Bavli and Yerushalmi, that as they gradually matir things over time until they came to the point where only eitzim and avonim were also, right? But initially all kelim were also, except for kelim which used for food. And gradually they moved things down until things were mutter, until all kelim except for eitzim avonim, even klishah machtul is mutter tzargufa makama. So the thing is, at this point, our Mishnah is prior to the heter of kelim, and that's why they couldn't use the kanim. Once they were matir kelim, as the situation is nowadays, of course they can use these sticks on Shabbos to skin the Korban Pesach. Okay, you didn't ask the question, did you? I think Hershel Marilyn asked the last question. I asked the question, yeah. I gave the wrong answer. So you have to learn Yerushalmi. Koravotzi Simurov. And you rip it open, you take out the imurim. Nosam and megas, you put them into a pitcher. And you put them on mizbeach. The first group goes out and stands on Arabais. The second group stands in the chel. There between the Arabais and the Azor Esros Noshim. Hashish, the third one, being koimo medis, it stands in its spot. Now the Yerushalmi did not have to give so medis in the Mishnah. That will become obvious in the Gemara. Okay, she just had the gears of shlishis be mekoima. Chashech, when darkness came, of course it was Shabbos. That's why they were waiting. Yotzu tzos pitzchei, they went out and broiled roasted their Korban Pesach. Ksiv, it says v'hiza, though the carbonated correct is supposed to be vayaz, but whatever. It says v'hiza mimenu mikulo. Now that means that you cannot do the azor sadam until after you've already started dissecting the korban, because it says mimenu while it's still a sholim. So actually you have to ensure that the zrika is done before you start taking out the imurim. I remember this halacha for anywhere else. Remember such halacha? I remember it. They all the bavli. So you have to first start. They have to first start to do the zrika, and then only start taking out. Rabbi Avina said. Now the way Pnei Moshe Kormei explained it means same thing. He's repeating it. He says the zrika has to be from a complete korban. The way the Killian Hashas learns it, and the way he claims the Rambam Paskins, is that it's not Ravina is coming to argue be makel. He says not the whole korban has to be complete, but it has to have. You cannot skin the hide. before you take out before you do Zrikas Adam. You can only skin it afterwards. You can't skin it before. But I guess you can start taking out the intestines or whatever you can do beforehand. But I don't know. It's not masha away from the Gemara. Gemara's masha is just repeating it and saying, make sure not to do any other step until the Zrikas Adam is done. A ksiv, it says viktiroso. It says you should put it on the mizbeach. That's one. Viktiru, that's two. Viktiram, a third time. Matamar Viktiro, so what is it? So when it says Viktiro, so was that going to connote? HaKosher lo apostle, only a kosher carbon goes on the Mizbeach, not a apostle one. Viktiro, when it says Viktiro, is that come to connote? Shlo yare chalovim v'chalovim. You can't mix chalovim, one carbon chalovim with another carbon. Yet, Viktiram, kulan kachas, means you can put all bunch of chalovim together on the Mizbeach. So of course it's a contradiction. Here you say, you can't mix chalev with chalev. And you say, you do all of them together. This is a contradiction. So Rabbi Law said, and it depends if it's in the pitcher or on the mizbeach. Now the conventional way of learning that, which is difficult, Lieberman doesn't like it, I don't like it either, is that when you put things on the mizbeach, they have to be separate. When you toss them into the pitcher, which you take in the mizbeach, they can all be tossed together. So it sounds kind of counterintuitive, right? That in the pitcher you can mix them, but then when they get to the mizbeach, they have to be separate. So what I think it means is really a plan, and Lieberman changes the gears here. What I think it means is that l'chatchila, you should definitely do it separate. But here on Erev Pesach, they couldn't do l'chatchilas because there was this huge chains of people. So therefore they did it the B'di'evid way, which is not just that. They couldn't do l'chatchila because they had to save the Imurim until because a lot of people. So because they did the Imurim even on Shabbos, so any Erev Pesach comes on Shabbos. So since they couldn't since there's so many Imurim, so they had to do it together. It just was no other way to do it. Ataka says they used to put the Imurim of 4 or 5 korbanos in a megas at once in order to run them to Mizbeach and get them on the Mizbeach in time. So it's kind of l'chatchil b'di'evid. That's what I think it means. Says Marlochin Tay Rebbe Chia. Now, getting back to the next part of the Mishnah. The Brisa assumes, the Gemara assumes, that they were sitting in the Harabayas. They're sitting in the Azara. The last group. See, they didn't have the gears of Omedes, because in the last statement in the Mishnah, so they assumed that the last group was sitting in the Azara. How can that be? Didn't we learn the only people who get to sit in the Azara are kings, anointing kings from the house of David. Even the kings of the house of David are now allowed to sit in the Azara. It says they would sit and read the Hakel Parsha, right? They would sit and read it. No, Tipoter, he wouldn't really sit, he'd just lean on the wall, which is like sitting. So you're not allowed to actually sit, right? You know that? When you lean on the wall, it's like sitting in halacha. So you just lean on the wall, but you wouldn't be allowed to actually sit. So how can these guys that made the Korban Pesach sit down? We're not yet up there. It doesn't say, it says David came as happy before God. Now I don't understand the kasha. There's no Beis HaMikdash and David was around, right? So he did. So of course he's allowed to sit. But the Yerushalmi takes it seriously. Rabbi Avi Banagri for Yish. No, it was no Shiloh either. It was destroyed. Destroyed the time of Chofni and Pinchas. Tuesday nights, 8 o'clock. They had a bummer. It was in Nov. Yeah, just a bummer. The Aron was in Yerushalayim, and the bummer was in Nov. Yeah, don't about the Aron. I think that's actually Haftarah, when David brought up the Aron Yerushalayim.
Tell them what tape it is.
I don't remember what tape. There are too many Nach tapes. But I'm shocked that you don't know Navi. Alright, shows you yeshivish after all. So,
Just gotta go back and
okay. So I'm Rabbi Yishu out to tefillah. No, he didn't actually sit. It was miyashiv himself. He focused in order to daven. So it doesn't mean sitting, but rather focusing. Yotzakatu shoyno. So here, what does it mean? Yotzakatu shoyno v'yoshlo barabayis v'ashniya b'chel v'ashlishis b'mkoyma. So how could they possibly sit over there in the Azara? So now Sheramona said, Ma'asina miste, what should we come and learn? Ma'asina miste, what did you come to learn? V'yoshlo b'mkoyma. You think it says they sat? Amdula b'mkoyma, they stood. They stood inside the Azara waiting until nightfall. Now again, the Yerushalmi did not have their gears in the Mishnah. Because if they had to get the Mishnah Medes, the whole Kash wouldn't have started, but they didn't have that gears. Okay, Hajjal Perak Tomi Nishla. By the way, tonight's blot is Samaches. Okay, so we're slightly behind. But we're still, Shkolim is 31 blot, so we're still within the limit of what Shkolim will catch us up. That's the bright side of that. Elud Vorim and Pesach Dochen is a Shabbos. These things on Pesach which are Dochen Shabbos. Shchitaso v'zvikas domo, slaughtering it and being. It's mostly I got it though. That's right. Shchitaso v'zvikas domo. Shvi said lower blood. Shchitaso v'zvikas domo michui krava. You're allowed to clean the innards, the intestines on Shabbos. How we allowed to put the chalovim on the mizbeach on Shabbos. But roasting it, v'adochas kravav, and rinsing the innards, opposed to cleaning them. You can clean them with a shmatter or something, but you can't rinse them. That does a push of Shabbos. And of course, hakavo, carrying it, bring it outside the tchum, cutting off any movement might have, and all these things don't push of Shabbos. Rabbi Eliezer says they do push of Shabbos. Because Rabbi Eliezer holds machshirei mitzvah doicher Shabbos, right? That's his famous shita, machshir. Zu halacha, the famous Gemara in the Bavli here brought down Yerushalmi. Zu halacha nama b'nei b'seira. This halacha was forgotten by the elders of Beseira. Pam achas chal arba'asar lios b'Shabbos. What's the 40 days that came on Shabbos? V'lo yoyim didn't know in Pesach doicher Shabbos im lab. Was Pesach push of Shabbos or not? Amru, so they said, Yesh kam Bavli Echa, there's a certain Babylonian here. Hillel Shmod, his name is Hillel. Sheshimet Sheshmaya v'Avtayon, who learned by Shmaya and Avtayon, Yoidea, he knows in Pesach Derech Shabbos and Lav. He knows the Pesach push of Shabbos or not. Efshar Sheyesh Menu Tochelos, maybe we're able to have some hope from him. Tochelos means, can get some answers. Ko literally means hope. Shochav v'korlos. They when they called him, they said, "Shamati mi amechad ever here." Shechalit al yes b'Shabbos im derechas Shabbos im lav. When the 40 days this will come to Shabbos, does push Shabbos push a pace and push a Shabbos or not? He said, "V'chiyei lanu l'peisa echad bilvad derechas Shabbos." So we only have one pace here, which is of Shabbos. Hello. Kama Pesachim yitchu es Shabbos chol shana. So many Pesachim which put of Shabbos every year. What do we mean? East Tani Meir. Those said 100. East Tani Messiah. Those said 200. East Tani Shlosh. Those said 300. Madar Meir. We said the 100 Pesachim which put of Shabbos. The other thing which our pillow was paralleling the Pesach was Korban Tummy. And of course, there are approximately 100 Tmidim which are brought on Shabbos through the course of the year, 2 a day per Shabbos, right? Madam Simon said there are 200 Korbanos which are like Pesach Doicher Shabbos. Tmidim Musafim Shabbos, he included the Musafim, which are also added on. Madam Shloshmos, he included Tmidim. It's not exactly 300, but he's adding another 100 for effect. Tmidim. All those that if they come in on Shabbos, they're doicher Shabbos. Of course, not all of them come out on Shabbos. But if Yontif, Rosh Chodesh, or another Moed comes out on Shabbos, so it's doicher Shabbos. It's Korbanos. Amar, so they said, they said it sarcastically. Oh, we said we'd have some hope from you. In other words, that's nice. What does that tell us about Pesach? Right? Could be Tommy that's absolutely Muslim for absolutely do it. And of course we know that those are true Korbanos Tzibur, they're opposed to Pesach. So he started dashing them for them. Mehekesh from a linkage, Mekav Chomer, Umigzer Shavim. Me'ekish, what was that? Ekish hoil v'tomid korban tzibur, pesach korban tzibur. So both of them were korban al tzibur. Ma tomid korban tzibur derechos Shabbos. Just like tomid is a korban tzibur which pushes of Shabbos. A pesach korban tzibur derechos Shabbos. So the pesach is a korban tzibur which pushes of Shabbos. That's the ekish. What about the kav v'chomer? Mikav v'chomer, ma'im tomid she'en chayovi mechayvin al siyoso kores. Tomid, if you do it, if you don't do it, you miss the Talmud one day, you're not chayav kores, but it's doichesh Shabbos. Pesach chayovin al siyos kores. If you miss the korban pesach, you get kores. So, eno din shidchel Shabbos is certainly pushed off Shabbos con more chomer. Migzer shava, and then he has gzer shava. Nemar b'tomid b'moadov. It says by tomid b'moadov, and then pesach moadov. It says pesach moadov. Ma tomid shnemar bo b'moadov. Just like tomid it says moadov. Doch Shabbos push of Shabbos. A pesach shnemar bo b'moadov. Doch es Shabbos push of Shabbos. Amulo. So they said, kvar amarna yesh tocheres mi Bavli. Already it says it's possible to have any hope from Babylonians. Fui. How so? Hekesh shamarta yesh lo tshuva. The hekesh, you said we can refute that. Lo marta b'tomid sheken yesh lo kitzba. By tomid, there's a specific amount. You know how much you're being derech Shabbos. However, tomid pesach sheken lo kitzba is no limit. Meaning, I think what they meant, it's not true korban tzibur, right? Everybody brings their own pesach, right? So by korban tomid, there's a specific amount, one per klal Yisrael. Korban pesach, there's so many of them. Obviously, it's not a korban tzibur. Because everybody brings their own, right? That's what I think they really meant. Kav v'chomer shamarta yesh lo tshuva. The kav v'chomer said it's a stinky kav v'chomer. Lo yimarta tomid shekotchim. Maybe tomid pushes of Shabbos because it's kotchim. Torah is supposed to pay so it's kotchim kalim. And Yerushalmi shamarta. Hagwash. Sheina dam dan Yerushalmi me'atzmo. What right? Do you have to make a Yerushalmi? How Yerushalmi had to be received from Moses at Sinai, right? So this is Yerushalmi, an interesting thing. Rabbi Yosef Rabun Omar b'Shem Rayabra Melo in Ba'adam Lodu Achar Gzeir Shava Miatzmo. You know why you can't make a Gzeir Shava on your own? Because you're going to make great tragedies. What are you going to do? O says a sheretz Matami Boel. You make Gzeir Shava to prove that a sheretz is Matami Boel. A dead rodent in the building is Matami it. How so? Because it says, and it'll say a mason matami in adosha size of lentil like a sheretz is. Because of Gzeir Shava, you would dash it to Dorash Begador. It says Begador by Tumas mace. It says Begador by Tumas sheretz. So you'd make a Gzeir Shava. And you learn a bridge across. So therefore, you learn all sorts of ridiculous things. You can't make a Gzeir Shava unless you have a Kabbalah on it. Now the next 4 lines, everybody takes out except the Pnei Moshe. I like the Pnei Moshe though very much. So I'm going to read the 4 lines. No. We spoke once about, was it Rashi here in this case? So I don't remember. Because at the end it's going to say it's Mekubim B'Shraya Naftalia. So I don't think so. Fascinating thing. If that's the case, if a sheretz is in a person's hand, even to go to the best mikvah in the world, the Me'er Shiloach, or Mei Breishis, I guess is the ocean, right? Which is also a good mikvah. Ein lo tara olamis. He doesn't have tara by ever, right? Now that's all true. If you're toivel and then you immediately touch a sheretz, you get tummy again. Toivel sheretz biyodi, you get tummy again. But it's only if you touch immediately or hold in your hand. However, this brisa says that ishlichum yodam yadator. As long as you catch a sheretz away your tar. And this brisa is a brisa Masechta Yuma is trying to tell us about the power of tshuva. As long as you leave the avera immediately, you're tar. But he says if sheretz would be matami ba'oel, wouldn't be able to say this statement, right? Because then even you toss it out of your hand when you're in the mikveh, right? You're still going to be tummy because the sheretz is in the same tent. So it must be because it says in this drasha, shlichum yadu, you're immediately tar, that a sheretz is not matami boel, because otherwise it'd be matami you in the mikveh. Okay? Very cute proof. Now, Rabbi Yosef ben B'Shem Rabbi Bar Memel said, Adam dunks Yerushalmi l'kain tu motamudo. A person can make Yerushalmi to sustain his that which he learned, meaning he doesn't lose anything because he already has a Kabbalah. So in that case, a person can't make Yerushalmi. However, if a person has a Kabbalah and he wants to make Yerushalmi in order to cancel that Kabbalah, right? That you're not allowed to do. And again, the reason for that is because there are all sorts of abuses which you can put on the category of Kavachom, and that's not okay, right? Well, again, like the Sheret Meis issue. Says the Gemara, I'm sorry, I skipped. Rabbi Yosef ben B'Shem Rabbi Bar Memel said, Adam dun Kavachom me'atzmo, person can make Kavachom on his own, Ve'ena dun Yerushalmi l'Atzmo. V'chol Mashiach Kavachom, that's why you can shlug Kavachomers, Ve'en Mashiach Yerushalmi, you cannot shlug Yerushalmi. Even though Hillel was dashing the whole day, Lo Kibul Iman, they weren't makabel from him. He said to them, he said, may something fall upon me. He was cursing himself. I certainly heard this from Shmai and Avtalion. Came to show him and Cain once they heard that he heard it from Shmai and Avtalion. They made him the Nasi, right? Came to Mino so Nasi, once they made him the Nasi, he started mocking them. He said, who required you to resort to a Babylonian? Because he didn't serve the two great men, Shmai Avtalion, well, came once he started rebuking them, needless to say, he forgot the halacha. They said to him, what should we do for the nation? They didn't bring their knives, so there are no knives to share the korban, so there aren't enough knives. How are we supposed to get the knives? Says Zora. So he said to them, I heard this halacha, but I forgot it. Leave the Jews alone. If they're not prophets, they're children of prophets, and they'll figure out what to do. Immediately the next day, anybody that's going to basically was a goat, a sheep, so he would stick the knife in its wool. Gedi, if the carbon they had was a goat, they would tie it between the horns. So the carbon as Pesach would bring the knives, Imoin with them. Came at Shurasa Maisa once he saw Israel doing this. Nizkas Allah himself remembered the halacha. He said, Kach Shemati Yisrael Tayo. This is a fact over Shemati Tayo, that's the way to bring the knives on Pesach. Right?
Does anyone comment
on Travis?
Thought, like Rashi did?
No what?
Probably about him making the VMA. It was a
the Hasidic though, but nobody, Hasidim, they didn't get it as far as Yerushalmi. Only the Gerus, and this wasn't Gerus. Rabbi Zia B'Shem Rabbi Lezer, Kol Torah she'ebo ein lo beis av ein Torah. A Torah which doesn't have a father's house, meaning it's not a Mesorah, it's not Torah. On Mesorah, it's ken Torah nicht. Okay? I did. This exact quote doesn't seem to appear in the Yerushalmi the Babli though. Maybe it's something similar. I have no recollection. My memory is faulty. I don't have Bill Clinton's memory. Tanatziyah. We learned over there. If you ride on a paraduma, or a nishan aleh, or you lean a paraduma, neither is nova, you dangle yourself by its tail. Over basana, you use it to cross the river. Keep it over some osera, you use it to fold a leash on. Nasa talisala, you put your talis on it, puzzle. The paraduma was puzzle because it's been worked. Avokosher mosera. But if you tied it to a leash, not that it was carrying the leash, you made it horseshoes, well, paraduma shoes, so it shouldn't slip. Poras tiliso, you put your towels over Ibnei Azvuvim because of the flies. Kisher in all these cases it's kosher because it's not considered to be a load. Zakaz general principle kosher with tzarka kshera. If it's for its own need, it's good. So if it's another need like carrying your load or carrying you across the river, it's possible. Our case is learned out from that case of paraduma. In that case, paraduma is learned out from our case here of the Pesach. Hada minahi. Actually, it should be the other way around. Ha'imin hadab. On the Yerushalmi, of course, we have these switcheroos all the time. So hada minahi means shimtol basakin shochta kshera. If you hang on your paraduma's neck, a knife to shech, it's still not considered to be malacha with the paraduma. Because if it has to be malacha, the paraduma, so here it should be also on Shabbos because of mechamer, because of doing work with the animal. So it must be considered to be work as long as it's for the tzarech of that animal. And our case learns from that case, where it's for the purpose of that korban, just like there by paraduma, so the purpose of paraduma is obviously avodah which passes the korban. Okay? So why don't they just make a bucket brigade for the knives? Chula is a rope, like a chulia, a chain, a link in a chain. So why don't they just make a bucket brigade for the knives? The same thing like they did for the dam. So it says, "Well, Ela Krabiyami." Must have gone like Rabbi Yami. Doesn't appear, but it appears in Masechta Shabbos that also you can't make lines. It says, "Well, no, I feel Temakribian going like Rabbi Simo." And Geshem Nemazu, he forgot that there's a lock you can make a chain. It's like he forgot about sticking it in the goat's, horns. He forgot about making a chain also. Okay. I'm Rabbi Yavun. Rabbi Yavun said, I have a more basic problem here. It's not possible to have a Shemitah year, to have a Shemitah cycle where the Yudal doesn't come out on Shabbos. It has to come out on Shabbos, right? So if that's the case, how could the Bnei B'Seir have forgot? What was their amnesia? So it says more very interesting Chiddush. Actually, I think it's in the Bavli too. In order to give Gdula Fil, in other words, it was Bashkocha Pratis, that they should forget that Loch in order that Hillel should come and take over the Nesias. Now, this is the fascinating Halacha Gemara. Ana Rabbi Mona, Ana Shomis Mi Rabbi Yudan. I heard from Rabbi Yudan, from all the other rabbis, now I'm going to learn you a combination of Liederman and Bnei Moshe's Pshat. Why, the Bnei B'Seir, they made a mistake, they were out of here. But Hillel's family, even when they make mistakes, we keep them as Nesim. At Sof Kol Adeiches. Why is that? Why don't we just kick them out whenever they make a mistake? Good question, right?
From Shemaya Naftai.
What?
Because you learned from your Shemaya Naftai.
Still, make a mistake. So he says, very interesting thing. Shlo Yar, name Anogi based on Shemata B'Chavel, we either make a mistake, Shlo Yar Bo Machlokas B'Yisrael. Not to have so many Machlokas. Achdus, right. In the Yerushalmi, in the Bavli, right. The three people who forsook their crowns in this world, and they got Olam Haba as a result. Very learned of these today, Yerushalmi ben Shol, Yerushalmi the son of Shol. Remember who he was? Velazar ben Azariah, see, it was worth coming tonight. Velazar ben Azariah and Elazar ben Azariah was Ziknei B'Seir and Ziknei B'Seir. They're all people who left their crowns in this world and got Olam Haba as a result. Yerushalmi ben Shol, Amar Rabbi Lah. Rabbi Lah said, nah, that was no big deal. I feel in the shy, even the women behind their knitting needles. They all knew that David would be king. So Yerushalmi wasn't doing any big gedulah by renouncing the kingship. Everybody knew David was about to be king. Elazar ben Azariah, that was no big deal either, because Tanayan Hava. There are three interpretations in the Korban Aida what that means. One interpretation says that tonight, if Ran Gamliel does tshuva, they'll take Ran Gamliel back to be the Nasi and take Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah down. So he knew there was always a chance. The other shot which he gives is that they made that he was still Tanayin Tinyan Hava means literally second in command. He didn't lose his position altogether. He was second in command to Rabbi Gamliel. In fact, it was 3 weeks for Gamliel and 1 week Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah every week. Another shot, the final shot he gives is that Tanayin Hava means it was a condition, but condition that after. That he should be able to go back to Nesias after the death. Rabbi Elazar ben Azariah to deal that she able to go back to Nesias after the death of Rabbi Gamliel, which in fact happened. So therefore he was willing to step down temporarily. Rabbi Gamliel was the one who he stepped in the gap of, and Gamliel came back, so he was partially deposed, but he was always waiting in the wings, so it was Nishke Ferlach from his perspective. So that's not such a big deal, those two cases, right? However, the Sikne Beseira, the last narrow line, the Sikne Beseira, the Shayan Gamumi and Asiyas, who relinquished their Nesias, Umanina in the Sia, and they actually let Hill come on, that's a very big Matrega. Rabbon in the Gesor, the rabbi says, Katzrin said, Av Rabbi Chin Tzipor and Rabbi Mona. Rabbi Chin of Tzipor also holds like. Oh, I skipped. Where am I? I certainly remember what this means. Oh, okay, right, fine. Rabbi Tzipori also was like Ziknei B'Seir, that he relinquished his position in favor of Rabbi Mona. Same idea. Rabbi Shua ben Kabsayu, interesting name. Rabbi Shua ben Kabsayu says a very famous quote: "Kol yom ha'isi berech min asrara." All my life I would stay away from positions of authority. However, Akshav, I guess, sometime in life, Sheikh Nasti came to the position of authority. Anybody comes to Motzieni wants to kick me out of my position, I'm pouring this boiling hot water over his head. Ma kumkum hazeh, just like the kumkum. Kaveh burns, umatzio on wounds, mefachim bo gets in black, kachani yoridlo. Anybody who wants to take me down from my position, going to do the same thing. Now I know what you're thinking. You're thinking wrong. Rabbi Yisrael Rabun, Chas v'sholem to have a boile. Chas v'sholem, do you want authority? What do you think you wanted to see that on the Mizrach Band? Do you wanted to sit up on the dais? That wasn't he wanted. That's what we want. Rather, the pshat is, Eladahaya Amar, that's what he said, Man yemar li d'choyren mekadesh shem shmayach d'kavasi. Who says somebody else will be mekadesh shem shamayim like I can? So he was mamish l'shem shamayim, that he wanted to stay in the job because he felt he would be a bigger kiddush shem shamayim than anybody else. Okay, not because of the covenant, but because of kiddush Hashem. Okay. Yeah. For some reason that was left out. I didn't leave him and didn't bring down that gear. So. Hill came out from Bavel for 3 reasons. He had 3 draws. Now, I'm going to learn to Bnei Moshe. Komenator said he had 3 questions to ask, and nobody can answer in Bavel. Bnei Moshe's pshat is a little bit cuter. He says Hill had 3 drushes. She really wanted to darshan. And in Bavel, there's nobody to listen to because it wasn't Allah L'maisa. So went to Eretz Yisrael to darshan these drushes, which there would be Allah L'maisa. Where are they? First of all, Tar. It says when a person's saras goes down, he's tar. Yochli Padre can the Kohen just say, "Oh, okay, I'm leaving." There's a Kohen who put him into the closet for a week. Talmud Lomer v'Tiaro Kohen. It says the Kohen has to be matarim. You Tiaro Kohen to Kohen to matarim. Yochli Mamar Kohen al Tomei Tor. If the Kohen did it without any regard to the truth, but just said Tomei's Tor, there's a Yei Tor, is a Takator. Talmud Lomar Tor Hu v'Tiaro Kohen. No, it's got to be Tor, and the Kohen's got to be retired. Need both components. Al Zeh Hilmi Bavel. That's one thing he'll came from Bavel on. Another one, Kosev Echromer So you want to teach it has to be Torah, and the Kohen has to see that it's Torah. Has to declare Torah. That's one thing you want to teach when he came to Eretz Yisrael. Next thing. Kasav Echad Omer Pasuk says, "Zavachta L'Shem Elokecha tzon u'bakar." Should sacrifice to God your Lord sheep and cattle. Because of that sounds like even Korban Pesach. Because of Zavachta Pesach L'Shem Elokecha, right? Tzon u'bakar. Kasav Echad Omer, another Pasuk says, "Mina kposim mina izim tikachu." Only sheep or goats. Okay, so how does it work? Tzon l'Pesach v'tzon u'bakar l'chagiga. Sheep for the Korban Pesach and sheep plus cattle for the Korban Chagiga. That was the second thing we wanted to darshan. Third thing we wanted to darshan. Kasav Echad Omer sheishes yomi matzos tocha. For 6 days you should eat matzah. Kasav Echad Omer shivas matzim yomi matzos tochlu. Another one says 7 days. So how do you reconcile the psukim? Okay, tzad shisha min hachodesh v'shiv min hayosha. What it means is that they
First night is still
yeah, first night still Yosha, and the next 3 and 6 nights can be Chodesh, right? And Rabbi Hillel would darshan this in Bavel already. And then he was masking. In other words, people agreed with him that this is correct. They made aliyah to tell them this halacha, the kib halacha, and either the halacha means that the halacha was received by everybody else, or he required more halachas at the base minister of Shmai and Avtali. No, none of it is.
The last one.
The truth is, there's no Chodesh in Bavel.
That's right. Way last day.
Yeah, that's Ma'amish Araya. Because that's what Namos is saying. These 3 things are not knowing Chutzah. It's Saras, and Korbanos, and Chodesh. Gewaltig. Right, yeah, because there it's all Chodesh. Very good, Raya. Shkoyach. Michli Krava. You're allowed to clean the innards. Rabbi Yochanan said, why? Because Kopa Hashem L'maneu, all the work of God should be for him. Shlo yenir kenoita l'murim mitoch mizbeach. It should be zevach really. It shouldn't be seen as taking out the murim from the korban menuval repulsive. So you have to clean them up. It's not nice in the base of mikdash to take off repulsive innards with excrement and acids all over them. So you clean them up before you bring them out of the animal. Okay. Rabbi Shmuel says if shita doichas is Shabbos, you're allowed to skin the animal on Shabbos. Rabbi Shmuel Benosh Rabbi Yochanan Brokamer. No, not the entire thing. But Shabbos here, mafshit, it should be adachaza. You used to start, flailing the animal from the legs up until you got to the chest, and then you remove the imurim from that area. Even though that's a long way up, it's much quicker to go from the chest. Why is that? We're going to see in a moment. But they would start from the legs and go all the way up to the chest, opposed to start from the top and go down to the chest. What? That's not why, though. I think we didn't say you have to do it all in one piece.
Just be clean one lot.
Yeah, well, anyway, but the one is going to discuss that. Tana Shmuel Shita the Shabbos. I'm sorry, I went back. Now, so it's a machlokas actually. I should clarify that. Shmuel says if Shita the Shabbos, right? That the skin is the Shabbos. Then along comes Tana Shmuel Benosh Rabbi Yochanan and Broka, not because of Rabbi Shmuel, a different Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shabbos said he wouldn't do the whole thing, just do up to the chest. My time, Rabbi Shmuel, what's the logic? Rabbi Shmuel say you can skin the whole thing. The same idea. There should be seen like taking the zvachim out of a dissected creature which is half skinned and half not. Marvelly Rabbi Shmuel Benosh Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. So why is there Shmuel Benosh Rabbi Yochanan say you only skin up to the chest? How it's going to look funny? There's more very interesting answer. Shuhovcho. We told Shuhovcho. Since you turn it over. I forgot what that means. I forgot what that means. Right. The way the reason why I start from the leg is because then when you hang it from the head, then you can't tell that it was skinned. Because the skin hangs down in a way that it covers the original animal. Is that clear?
So it folds over on itself. It hangs down and folds over on itself.
Right, the skin folds back over. So that's why it holds you don't have to skin the whole thing. Because if you don't skin the whole thing, you have an advantage actually, which is you still have the skin there to cover it when it's hanging there until it's roasted. Not making sense? You don't skin all the way. And you leave the skin on, so now it hangs down. It looks like the animal's whole. The chashash why Rabbi Shmuel allowed you to skin it is because it doesn't look whole. So that would be true if you started skinning from the neck down and then hit your chest and stop, so it's hanging there up like that, so it's dangling. It doesn't look nice, right? Because it's dangling away from the body. But now that you start from the leg and go up, so now when you hang it from the neck, so the Kamada Amar Rabbi Shmuel Amar Muvcha Doicha. Now, true, this really we should start Rabbi Shmuel knows Rabbi Yochanan and Broka. But it doesn't matter; it's the same idea. Kamada Rabbi Shmuel Amar Muvcha Doicha to do it in a good way, in a special way is Doicha. Ein Muvcha Mina Muvcha Doicha. But not through an extra special way, meaning you can only be mafshir according to Rabbi Shmuel B'Rosh Rabbi Yochanan and Broka. He should have been first. According to him, you only go to the chest, not the entire thing. So it's quasi special, but not completely special, right? So just like he said over here, Kamad Amar Rabbi Shmuel B'Rosh again, I'm switching names. Kamad Rabbi Shmuel B'Rosh Broka Amar Muvcha Doiche. In order to make a muvchar, you push off Shabbos. Ein muvchar mina muvchar. But in order to make a mahajir, you don't push off Shabbos. Kach Rishon Rosh Rabbi Yochanan Baruch he says muvchar doiche. If it's special, it's doiche. Ein muvchar mina muvchar. Muvchar doiche. Ein muvchar mina muvchar doime. Even though he holds you skin the whole thing, he also holds that that's not different quality. They both hold the same side. They do what makes it mahadrin, but not mahadrin, mina mahadrin. It's just that they argue their version of what mahadrin is. According to Rabbi Shmuel B'Rosh Rabbi Yochanan and Broka, to skin up to the heart is mahadrin, because then when it hangs down, you can't tell. According to Rabbi Shmuel, epis you can tell a little bit, and that's why you have to skin the whole thing in order just to make it muvchar. Not muvchar, mina muvchar. That's just necessary, or to make the mahadrin. So they agree in the principle. You can go up to a mahadrin, not mahadrin, mina mahadrin. The question whether you find mahadrin, which is not mahadrin, mina mahadrin, as being just skinning to the heart, to the chest, or does it mean skinning the whole thing? Okay? So it says, in Tomar muvcharu, the Ridbaz and Lieberman learned this, that it means that according to Rabbi Shmuel, there's a riot that according to Rabbi Shmuel Rosh Rabbi Yochanan and Broka, that when you do up to the chest, that's considered to be muvchar, right? Because there's a riot that Rabbi Shmuel Rosh Rabbi Yochanan and Broka is matir muvchar. Why is he matir muvchar? What's my right? Is matir muvchar because he lets you go to the chest. If he didn't allow muvchar at all, what should he make you do? No, stick your hand in and pull it out. In fact, he allows you to go to the chest from the legs and not make a mess and start pulling and wrenching out. That indicates he also holds the concept of muvchar. Not to the same extent as Rabbi Shmuel. Rabbi Shmuel also holds muvchar means to skin the whole thing. It just means to skin to the chest. But he holds that the raya that he holds it as a concept muvchar is that he allows you to go that far. Because in Torah muvcharu, if you say it doesn't have to be muvchar, you grant if you don't see more, forget about skinning at all, just take out the imurim. That's how the Ridbaz learns. The Mashbiach learns differently. He says that in is like therefore, and therefore it means in Tomar, and therefore whenever it reaches the stage of Muvchar, according to Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan Broka, after you get to the chest, according to Rabbi Shmuel, when you skin the whole thing, that's when Yikranu v'yotzi murav. That's when you rip it open and take out the murav. Okay, so it's a very different way of learning. But the bottom line is to say they both agree in principle. Rabbi Yisrael said, Lo asil Rabbi Shimon. He's going a different point here. He's going on. Oh no, he's not. Sorry, he's arguing because Lima according to read Baz again says, no, Rabbi Shmuel doesn't require muvchar. Doesn't require muvchar at all. Rather, if that's the case, why are you allowed to skin the whole thing? So it says very simple. Lo asil Rabbi Shimon. It's like Rabbi Shimon. The time we learned if somebody is hagored, if somebody smooths a piece of wood, kodech drills a piece of wood, or kotzetz or chops a piece of wood, no matter how small, b'Shabbos, on Shabbos he's chayev. Rabbi Shimon, take out the words Ben Elazar. Rabbi Shimon Remer, hagored, if you're planing something smoothly, achigo kotzorka has to be completely smooth. HaKodech, if you're drilling something, so it's completely drilled. VaKotzitz, it's completely cut. Says no chiyuv the rice unless you skin the whole thing. If you only skin up to the chest, it's not a yisud deraisa. It's only yisud derabbanan because it has to be called the entire shiur. So that's the case. The reason Rabbi Shmuel is matir you, not Rabbi Shmuel. The reason Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Who's the one who's matir to the chest? Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan Broka, I think. Yeah. The reason Rabbi Shmuel ben Osher Rabbi Yochanan lets go up the chest is not because of muvchar, and because that way it'll lie properly and he won't be able to tell. No, he only needs the Rabbanan to skin part way. So he needs the Rabbanan. So of course, Malcolm Koran Pesach, they weren't geyser. It's like a shvus b'mikdash. She didn't make a decree, so he doesn't know the muvchar at all. This is not considered to be muvchar. Why are you allowed to go that far if it's not muvchar? Let him just rip it up at the beginning and take out the murim then, because it's this Rabbanan. So what do we care? Rabbi Yaakov Barachel lo asi Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon lo ava make the same idea. The Mashbiach in fact puts these two gersos together. Rabbi Yaakov Barachel lo asi Rabbi Shimon goes like Rabbi Shimon. Rabbi Shimon lo ava mixes malacha kekula. Rabbi Shimon says it's not partial malacha, it's not like complete malacha, and they're allowed to skip our way. Rabbanan avdi mixes malacha kekula. Rabbanan said it's like a kula. The kasher shugam we have a difficulty in our shugam. Now this has nothing to do with the Sech Pesachim. Once you mention Echel Shabbos, we're going to Echel Shabbos. I have a difficulty with Shimon Gamliel. Gamliel says that if you hit an anvil at the time that you're metalworking, you're over makabah patish. You just hit the anvil without hitting the metal. So how could that be? If you took the harvest low cuts or you didn't harvest, Shema Kluma said, is it any malacha? Right? And so how come you just hit the anvil without straightening any metal? It's a malacha. So Rav said, Asher Shagam Rabbi Yehuda, it's very famous, more we had it a couple of times today. Rav would fly like a shugam like Rabbi Yehuda. The time we learned Tashevet v'amekatkit al ori. These are the things you do in order to straighten and smooth things on the loom without getting into the exact details. So that Tashevet and Mekatkit al ori, I raise the chayv, is chayv neshu kamiyashi biyado. It's because you're causing this to be properly done. In other words, by carefully sorting the threads, whenever you're doing that, it makes it very, very proper and meticulous, and that's why makabah patish. It's refining your weavery, that your weavery should look nice. Here too, you're training your hands. Remember famous idea that when you hit the anvil, you're practicing how to properly blow the hammer. That's also makabah patish. Why? Because you're makabah patish on your own capacity. Makabah patish on your own capacity, that's enough to train yourself in such a way as enough to make you chayav on Shabbos. And we will stop here for this evening. We'll pick up again on Monday.